All right, ladies and gents, this is part 3 of the State Service Rifle Champs here in Queensland, the Belmont Range Complex under the supervision of the Queensland Military Rifle Club. This is tack rifle, so we've put away the service rifles, grabbed the things with scopes. This will be the first ever competition outing of my lovely SSG. Zeroed it the other day, just going to shoot some ADI factory ammo out of it. The shoot is at 500 yards. You get 5 sighting rounds. From there, your time goes on. Target comes up. 10 deliberate rounds within 3 minutes. Now, target will come down. You have to get off your firing point, back 10 meters, collect your next lot of 10 rounds, carry that back to the firing point, load up again, all before they start the snap exposures, where you'll get 5 exposures of around 6 to 8 seconds to fire 2 rounds per exposure. So you've got the flight time of the bullet to take into consideration as well. A very challenging shoot. It's designed for tactical rifles with bipods, so none of your FTR portable bench rest rubbish. Everything has to be field portable. So let's see how we do. Okay, 500 yard tactical rifle as everyone's starting to get ready in the standing position. Everyone just waiting for the targets to appear from the butts. There they go, and down we go. Dylan's relatively quick into position. However, you can see the other competitors there just taking their time, trying to make sure they keep their heart rates nice and low. Now, the sighters have already been completed by this stage, and it is 10 rounds deliberate. However, your scores are not indicated, so you have no idea where your rounds have landed until after the match. 3 minutes to fire 10 rounds, so you just have to pray you got it right. You see a wide variety of rifles on the line there, ranging from the SSG 69 through to the DTA in use next down the firing point, and a whole bunch of custom rifles after that. Tikka's featuring quite heavily there. Now you'll notice the very high bipod in use by Dylan here. This is due to his particular body type and the actual elevation of it, the targets itself, as opposed to the rather low firing point we were on. Now you see Dylan went for a reload a little bit early there. Counting is important. Had that have been in the snap sequence, that could have been potentially disastrous. Second magazine going in now. Little bit of a awkward reload for him. He was trying to go for a rock and lock. Now, although the magazine port is quite large on the SSG 69, when you're not actually looking at it, it can be a little bit difficult to beat it in. Now you'll note that he does actually have a rear bag, however it doesn't quite provide him enough elevation, so he's having to get his hand in underneath it. Rear bags are permitted in competition, or this particular competition anyway, however they have to be the soft type. Now see, despite the awkward bipod position, everything's still recoiling straight in line. Now I'm not sure why that case didn't eject properly. Everything was in order, let alone the double feed there he induced trying to push the bolt forward. I haven't got to the bottom of the cause of that. Maybe he just short-shucked it. There completes the deliberate as Dylan leaps into action. Back down the mound. Collects my battle belt, which contains the additional magazines. Yeah, see the other competitors there already completed their runs. Just slowly and methodically setting up. You'll see the gentleman sitting there on his knees, carefully thumbing the rounds into his magazine. Again, just slow and methodical, trying to keep that heart rate nice and low. Dylan's already loaded up and down on target. just waiting for the first appearance of the snap serial. And the targets are up. Now the flight time on a 155 grain projectile over 500 yards is somewhere in the vicinity of 0.71 of a second. So it is quite possible to actually have your round in flight at this end as the target is coming down, which is obviously suboptimal. So this double tap snap serial is quite difficult. Reload underway. A little bit slicker that time. Gives it a thump to make sure it's in. As the noise of an aircraft just passes overhead. You can see the wind flag there just tailing around. It was coming and going by this stage. It was actually starting to drop out a little bit. Last exposure coming up now. That was not the last exposure. Ignore that. As the wind came up there and just flipped the tails of his disruptive desert pattern Arafat hat, which is was issued to Australian forces in the early 2000s. It is the mother of all Kempy caps. There completes Dylan's first ever tactical rifle match. Give us a smile.
Okay, that was fun.
Are there any saved rounds?
The scores are a little bit different to the service rifle match. That's because in this particular tac rifle competition, we were utilising the 600 yard NRA target. The NRA 600 target consists of a 6-foot backing board with an aiming mark and scoring rings out to 5 with an X-ring centre. Now let's take a look at how I managed. Now, despite the ordering of this video, I actually shot first, and once again the sighters have been completed, just waiting for the targets to come up for the deliberate. Now you'll see me tucking the bipod into a couple of strops coming out of my shooting mat. That is a feature of a sword shooting mat, which allows you to actually adjust the length and lean forward into the bipod, tensioning it down to help you better control recoil, as well as provide a more consistent amount of pressure and balance on the gun. Now my sighters were actually bang on and slightly right, that's why I made the, in hindsight, disastrous call to dial in the wind. And once again, I cannot overstate the importance of having good data when it comes to shooting at different ranges. Now, this was ADI 168 grain factory ammo, the Sierra Match King, which is spectacularly accurate out of the SSG 69. And all I did was insert the ballistic coefficient and the box velocity into Stralock, dialed in the distance, and yeah, the elevation was bang on. First magazine is completed now. You'll see just a straight line recoil impulse. With my technique being somewhat flatter than Dylan's, with my arm splayed out a little bit wider. Bipod is just a Harris. I like to keep things simple once again, and I can actually utilise the rear bag quite effectively here. Now, in combination with the bipod strops, despite SSG's lightweight and lack of a muzzle brake, the recoil is very, very linear. As the magazine is completed, I spring up and conduct my run back to pick up the additional ammunition. Now that's just the same sword battle belt I had from the Bushranger shoot, just threw the extra SSG magazines into the pouches. Now the deliberate is still going on here, so we've got quite a long pause as we just get a little bit more perspective on just how far 500 yards actually is. See the wind flag dancing around there. Although it was moving and getting lighter, unfortunately I just did not see it as the targets go away. Now the one good thing about this wide helicopter angle is you don't have to look at that horrific green gazebo on the firing point that was in use down the other end of the range. Gazebos are a nylon menace on many a full bore range in Australia, and they have no place being there. Sit out there in the sun like a man. Don't mind having shade off the firing point, but certainly there is no requirement for it on the firing point. Now, thanks to the wonders of editing, we are now going to make this long pause disappear, and we'll be back with you the moment anything interesting happens. And the targets have come back up just about now. First round away, reload, and second round away. You can see the gun barely moving at all. Now you see me having to recock the bolt there. Both myself and Dylan had this problem where the firing pin was actually following the bolt into the closed position. I believe, after pulling the gun apart post-match, that the actual trigger itself was making contact with the stock, not allowing it to reset. So we've relieved a little bit of material there, and the problem seems to have gone away. Once again, that 60-degree bolt throw, that big large bolt knob, really on display there in these snap serials as the magazine change is completed. See me moving my cheek around there. I probably shouldn't be doing that, but I'm just trying to keep a consistent focal length on the scope itself. Nice deliberate movement of the bolt there. Again, trying not to induce the trigger getting stuck to the rear. Now, by the time the target comes up, you really don't have a lot of time to actually get your 2 rounds away. And as you can see in this perspective, despite the target being 6 foot across, you can barely see it in this footage. So doing this on iron sights for the international high power match tomorrow is quite a challenge. And a bit of movement on that one. Obviously didn't have the gun properly into the shoulder as I complete my 10th round.
That's stress fatigue.
Yes, there was a little bit of fatigue there. Scores from the tactical rifle. Following that display, Dylan managed a total score of 187 with 3 centres. This consisted of 3 X-ring, 8 10s, 5 9s and 4 8s. Not a bad score, considering that was the first time he'd picked up that rifle, and the gun itself was effectively fresh out of the box. This put him in 14th position out of the 21 competitors. Unfortunately, I only managed 170 points, consisting of no X-rings, 1 10, 11 9s, 5 8s and 3 7s. Now, how could this possibly occur? Well, unfortunately, I dialed in a windage adjustment that wasn't actually required, and my entire group was slightly to the right. As is the nature of competition, sometimes you make the right call, and others you stuff it completely. Yes, this means Dylan has committed the cardinal sin of beating me with my own rifle. And so completes Tactical Rifle, which was shot on day 1 of the Queensland State Service Rifle Championships at the Queensland Military Rifle Club at Belmont. Another fantastic shoot. Well done to Dylan for actually beating me with my own rifle. And we will be back with more on day 3 of the state championships here at the Department of Southern Armament Research.